Qierre McGlory, Realtor with Keller Williams Realty, North Tustin. Along with me, my business partner, my lender, Mr. Moneyman himself, and Omni-Fund. Omni-Fund.
Yes.
Sales manager and Realtor Broker Associate, Mr.
Yes.
Wesley Oliver.
Yes, glad to be back.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Now, the question that we're always asked is, when is the best time to buy a house?
Right, and it's an important question.
Absolutely.
Probably the most important question. And my answer to that is always when you're ready and capable of buying a house, that's as good a time as any to buy one.
And when you say ready and capable, what do you mean?
Ready for the responsibility.
Okay.
You know, you've dealt with your finances, went through your budget, and you're like, okay, I'm ready to take on the responsibility of homeownership.
I see. Now, I know you mentioned something, an article you actually sent me. It said something about interest rates going up next year.
Yeah, so as I've been telling people, and we've had this conversation on our videos quite a few times, you have two particular issues that are keeping rates a little lower than they might otherwise be. One of those is the tariff war, whatever you want to call it, that we have going on with China. Now, the other day, President Trump came out and said that they're very close to a deal. And just by him saying that, I started getting notifications from different lenders that I work with that, you know, the rates had gone up for that day based on that news. So nothing's been finalized yet. We don't know what the deal is going to look like or the impact it's going to have. But I'm still sticking with the minute that thing gets dropped, we're going to see a difference in some way on some of the rates. The other thing that happened last night, pretty big deal. The elections in England, you know, for the House of Commons, their conservative party, they won a lot of those seats back.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so what that means and why that's important, the other issue we always talked about was Brexit. You know, were they leaving the EU, where they weren't? That thing was all a huge mess.
Right.
So now that party is back in power largely, and you already know Boris Johnson, how he feels about it, what he wants to do, he wants to continue pulling out. Now they position themselves closer to making that a reality. So that is something else that could have, you know, a big impact on rates. And then I believe it was earlier this week, President Trump is still trying to get the Fed to lower the rate even more.
Right.
The Fed said, no dice, we're not lowering it anymore. So these are all things that are kind of swirling about that are going to have an impact on rates next year. And then perhaps the most important thing, which isn't going to happen until later toward the tail end of the year, is we have an election ourselves here.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so and depending on, you know, the results of that election and who wins, and we might even see some changes just based on who wins the Democratic primary, right? And based on polling and whatnot, you're going to see some changes with that as well. So there are a lot of things going on that, you know, could have a negative impact on rates for next year. And we don't know, but here's what I do know. The more stable things are usually, the better that is for the stock market, and that's where the money's going to go. And if the money's going into the stock market, it's not going into the bond market, and that's going to be probably a negative for rates. So my main point is I always make, if you're ready to buy a home, now's as good a time to do it as any, because yeah, I'm giving you a lot of tidbits on things that are happening, and we're all speculating. You know, we're all speculating. But if you buy a home right now, think of it this way: if you buy a home right now and rates go up from this point, you're going to be glad you bought the home right now. If you happen to buy a home right now and rates go down next year, guess what? You get to refinance and take advantage of the lower rates. So as always, hedge your bets, because you don't know what's going to happen either way.
Absolutely.
And by the way, and I'm sure you'd agree with this on your side of the fence, regardless, home values are probably going to continue to go up.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we're not seeing any type of indication of home values going down. A property I just put in escrow a few weeks ago, we actually received multiple offers within the very first weekend of the open house.
Right.
You know, and this is actually going to be a record sale. So we are not seeing any indication of the market slowing down. The fact that we are still having that limited inventory, meaning that there's less homes on the market available for buyers, we're still consistent, and so we're still seeing that home buyers are going to increase or receive multiple offers, and with the multiple offers, it drives up the price of the houses anyway.
Right.
So, and as Wesley said, I mean, when it really comes down to if you're ready to buy a house, it really comes down to if you're ready to take that responsibility. You can't time the market when it comes to buying a house. We know this.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can possibly time the market when it comes to selling a house, but not always.
Not always.
Right? But if you are ready to buy a house, buy a house. And guess what? If you want to sell in the next 5 to 7 years, most likely you'll have equity in the house anyway, right?
There you go.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to start our video series again, so you'll definitely start to see more videos from us, at least every other week. You know, we're always here, obviously, to provide you with much information and much value, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure to empower you to make informed decisions. And at the bottom of this video, if you have any questions for Wesley, his contact information will be there. If you have any questions for myself, my contact information will be here. As always, have a great day. Have a great weekend. Take advantage of this gorgeous Orange County weather we get to have. And thank you guys for watching.